Hey everyone, welcome back to my devlog series for my indie game Diablo Valley, a game about protecting your new home from demons and the paranormal. In this episode, I'm going to go over everything that either wasn't included in devlog number 1, and everything else that has happened since then. So last episode I had mentioned that I was going to be showing you guys a piece of armor that I was working on, and this is what I was referring to. So this is a helmet that is going to be used by the first character class that I'm designing, the Holy Knight. So as you can see, the reference image is based on a Templar, a Crusader, Knight, whatever you want to call it, with a couple changes. Notably, instead of the cross, we have the Ankh, which is going to be a prominent symbol throughout the game. But this is how it turned out, and I'm pretty happy with it. There's a few things that I am not so happy with, like the UVs are kind of messed up in some areas. You can definitely see some seams, which I'm not a fan of. I've spent a long time playing with the UV maps to try and get it just right, but basically because the UVs are sampling from different parts of the reference image, it makes it very difficult to actually get these to match up perfectly. So that's the only thing that I don't like about that. If I really wanted to, and I probably will end up doing this, is I can bake out this texture, save the texture, and then open it up in Photoshop, and then just remove these seams and blend this properly, and then re-import it into Blender and just reapply the texture that way. But yeah, this is the helmet, and I'm happy. I'm pretty happy with it overall. Let's take a look at it from the camera view and get a nice little render going. And we come over to the rendering tab and see there at 256 by 256, this is what it's looking like. I'm really happy with that result. Again, I wish the seams weren't there, but I can fix that eventually. But the idea that I'm going for is in Diablo 2, items in the inventory are actually, well, I'll just throw it up on screen. There's an image that I was looking at specifically, and I really like how they render their objects, their items, for UI usage for like in the inventory. So my idea was that I could do a similar thing and use this render for the actual in-game inventory, and I could make this transparent so that it's properly overlays over the UI. So that about covers it for the helmet that I've been working on. Now let's go ahead and move on to the next thing I have to show you. All right, so next up we have the base mesh character that I had showed in devlog number 1, and on top of that I've made a few additions. Here you can see the helmet that I just showed you guys. Let's go into material preview so I can give you guys a better look at this. So let's switch on over to the material preview so you guys can see. This is the Holy Knight character. My plan is to add like a cape as well, I think. I mean, all this gear is going to be interchangeable. This is just sort of a standard look that you can expect. Here we see I have, and these are all separate pieces, separate meshes. Here we have the chainmail here, which is a separate piece. We have the pants, got the boots, and gloves. And we also have this belt. In general, I would say that this is where the majority of my time has been spent in the past month. I affectionately refer to this character as the black hole because I feel like I've spent just so much time just playing around with this and trying to get it looking decent. I'm still not happy with it entirely. I want to make the sort of overcoat here look more natural, more fabric-y, and I think I've been playing with different ways to do that. I tried using a cloth simulation. I absolutely, and it could be because of the irregular shape, like all the tutorials for cloth simulations on YouTube anyway are, they make a t-shirt, which is super simple, but this is a little more awkward. But basically I couldn't get the cloth simulation to look to work even. They would just, it wouldn't attach. They wouldn't, the seams would never come together, and it just wouldn't work, basically. Another thing I tried was using the sculpting brushes, specifically the cloth sim brush, to make it look more like fabric, and that worked. Except well, number one, it required, adding more geometry to the mesh, and then it would have to be decimated afterwards, and I'm a little fuzzy on that, so I'll have to look into that some more. It also caused a bit of clipping issues that, I would have to play with. So it's just basically, it's going to take more playing with, but this is pretty much what the character design is looking like. Obviously the boots, are going to get more detail. The gloves are going to be more detail. Basically everything is going to get more detail, and that's just going to be, it's just a work in progress. So let's go ahead and get a render. So let's come into the rendering tab, and you can see what that looks like at 256 by 256. And we can actually come into the compositing tab and check use nodes, and then do another render. So that's what it looks like with the pixel art shader. I really like this look. I was kind of questioning for a little bit whether I should keep the pixel art shader or not, but I actually really like the way it's looking right now. I really like the look of it, so I think I'm going to keep it, at least for now. I think I'm going to keep the shader. But that is about everything to show for the model here. So let's go ahead and move on to the next thing. All right, so moving on, in order to escape the black hole, which was the previous character that I showed you, I decided to have a little fun and make the first enemy for the game. So what we have here, in case you couldn't tell, is a little skeleton boy. So here he is, and I am actually very happy with how this turned out. I'm using this reference image over here with transparency enabled in alpha channel. The transparency is actually working on the model, which is really cool. I like that a lot. I love the look. And overall, it was just a fun little thing to make. And I'm really happy with the way it turned out, actually. I think it's looking pretty good. It'll be fun to get it rigged up and deforming. It was definitely an interesting one. It was like a fun little mix-up on the, typical, human base mesh. Some weird shapes that I haven't done before when modeling a person, so it was fun. And also, of course, the limbs are super skinny, so that's different. But let's see, in rendered view, you see a little something here. Let me go and do camera view and then rendered. So I just have a little red light here in front of the model, just to give it a little extra something. I don't know if that'll incorporate into the game at all, maybe as like a variant of the skeleton or something. But for now, I think it looks fine as it is, just even without the light. I think it looks great. Very happy with it. But that's that for the skeleton. Just very quick little guy, he's not rigged up or anything yet, so I still have to do that. But yeah, first enemy for the game, skeleton. Very classic, an RPG staple. So moving on to the final thing that I have to show for today's devlog. Okay, so inside of this mess of lines here, we have the first weapon that I've designed specifically for the Holy Knight class. This is the sword. This is just going to be the basic sword. I'll expand upon this, obviously, make many more types of swords, but this is just the standard one, your standard sort of Templar style sword here. If we go into material preview, you can see it's taking a second to load because I am using a procedural steel material with fancy scratches and damage. Maybe a little bit too much, but keep in mind that this isn't how it's going to appear in game. These are going to be turned into sprites, basically. So we also have this procedural leather material. This may end, subject to change depending. I may go with just an image texture or something, but for now we got this procedural leather material. And then we have this pommel here, which comes from the image texture that I used as the reference image. Let's go into rendered view. Let's go ahead and get a render. And we can see in the rendering tab at 256 by 256, that's looking really nice, honestly. I mean, this is without even a pixel shader or anything. This is just a low resolution render, and I think that's really cool. I think it looks great. Again, this might be used for the inventory. It may be the weapon sprite itself, I'm not sure. So overall, I think that the sword is coming along nicely. I think especially in the render, it looks very nice. I'm happy with the direction that things are going, I can say. That is pretty much everything that I wanted to show off today. I just want to quickly say thank you guys so much for watching episode 2. This one was not scripted, so I apologize for any sloppiness, but I just wanted to make sure I got this one out there for you guys and include just everything that's been going on and get everybody up to date. So, this past month there's been a lot of ups and downs. There's been some low points. There's been some times where I've really struggled, but I'm feeling motivated. I want to keep working on this. I'm going to keep working on this. And so I just hope that you will come along with me for the ride and see where this goes. But thank you guys so much for watching this devlog. It really means a lot. And if you like the video, give me a like. It helps out with the algorithm. And, subscribe to keep up to date with these videos. So once again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next devlog.